Can Luna 2.0 rise from the dead and make you a millionaire? Well, to answer this question, there's 9 different points we gotta look at. For each point, I'm gonna categorize it as positive, negative, or neutral. And at the very end, we're gonna tally it all up to see my final verdict. Alright, let's start at the very top with the recovery plan that they passed and implemented. This brought us Terra 2.0. A brand new blockchain that was not a fork of the old one. This means that all the dApps from the old chain would not exist in this new version. They would have to be migrated over. The coin for this new chain is called Luna 2.0, but it would keep the original ticker symbol Luna. The old chain will still be operational, but it will be called Terra Classic with ticker symbol LUNC, short for Luna Classic. The justification for doing all this was that they had a robust ecosystem and community that was worth preserving. Their catchphrase was, Terra is more than UST. I consider this plan a positive because they took action quickly, and now there's something new to focus on besides the dumpster fire that was their old chain. So that proposal passed with 65.5% voting in favor. But actually, it wasn't what the community wanted initially. Some people wanted to keep the old Terra chain and not do any forks. They proposed adding a burn mechanism to reduce the supply of Luna back down to normal levels. Remember, Luna went through hyperinflation when it was crashing, so there's like 7 trillion Luna Classic coins right now. The proposal was to have a 3% burn on every transaction, which sounds good in theory, but I don't think it would have worked. First, a lot of the trading volume is on centralized exchanges, so this burning mechanism cannot be enforced there. And second, this would just get people to stop using Luna Classic altogether. So in that case, there'd be no volume and then nothing would get burned. Another proposal was to do a repayment plan to anyone who held UST. They wanted to use the Luna Foundation Guard's remaining funds to send people 1 USDC for every UST they held. Problem is, there's barely any funds left. They used most of it to try to defend the peg. So the team would have to raise new money from VCs to make this happen. Or I guess they could just do it with less money and make less people whole. Either way, I rate these other proposals as a negative because I think they distract and split the community from focusing on the new plan. Now, as for Luna 2.0, I just don't think it has a strong value proposition. Like, they're creating this new chain and then airdropping a bunch of tokens to everyone. But where's the fundamental value that's being produced? It looks to me like just another Cosmos SDK chain. There's nothing really unique about it. They're also starting with 0 projects, so their ecosystem is non-existent. There's no Anchor protocol, Mirror protocol, nor UST. That's why I'm rating their value proposition as a negative, because you can't just do this airdrop and expect it to have value. Another massive problem is that they have a ton of legal issues facing them. For example, South Korean regulators are calling in Terra employees to testify on what happened. There's speculation that Do Kwon and his team could get hit with fraud or price manipulation charges. Regulators also mentioned that they could hold exchanges accountable for listing Luna. If that happens, it could forever handicap Luna 2.0 because then exchanges would avoid it like the plague. Besides regulators, everyday Korean citizens are also pissed, and some of them have filed a class action lawsuit against the team. So there's a lot of stuff going on in their home country. And to make matters worse, the SEC is also building a case against them. Initially, that case was against the Mirror protocol for offering securities on the blockchain. But now they have a lot more ammo which they could use to either expand their case or build a new one altogether. So I'm rating all these legal issues as a huge negative because their team could be handicapped when they're needed the most. If that's not enough, we also have to worry about the massive selling pressure that comes from their token distribution. Their airdrop was set up so that small holders would be able to trade some of their tokens immediately upon launch, but everyone else would have some multi-year vesting periods for their tokens. It's super important to watch out for the 1-year mark because that's when the whales first get access to their tokens, and they have some pretty massive bags that they could dump. But I also expect there to be strong dumping early on because small holders are pretty desperate to recoup some of their money, so a lot of their tokens are going to flood the market. I mean, heck, just look at this chart. There was a massive 75% dump when Luna 2.0 first hit the markets. It's hard to imagine where the demand is going to come from to counteract all this selling. And to make matters worse, the airdrop had a lot of issues and left some people with a sour taste in their mouth. For example, some people got way less tokens than they were supposed to, so the team had to go back and sort that out. But by the time they received what they were due, the price was already way lower, so you can just imagine how they felt. Other people bought Luna or UST after the first snapshot, but sold them before the second snapshot, so they also got the short end of the stick. Finally, if anyone bridged their Luna or UST outside the Terra ecosystem, there's a chance they didn't get included in either snapshot. So because of how this airdrop was handled, there's all these sour people who are never going to touch Luna again. And that's why I rate this airdrop a negative. There's too much dumping with no diamond hands in sight. Now, time to change things up and get to a few positive points. But first, a quick shout out to our video sponsors Bitget. They have this super cool copy trading feature that I've been trying out personally. Look, I'm a noob when it comes to trading, so the idea of copying a better trader has always resonated with me. Like, why not take a percentage of my portfolio and copy some pro traders to see what they can do? It's actually super easy to get started with copy trading on Bitget, and they give you all the stats you need to see which traders you want to follow. Then you can choose certain settings like take profit or stop loss ratios to manage your risk accordingly. Keep in mind that there's absolutely no guarantee that we'll profit by using this, because even the best traders in the world get losses sometimes. But if you want to try this out, then go check them out using my links below. So here's the thing about Luna 2.0. It seems to have a lot more support from the broader crypto world than I would have expected. Like, so many big exchanges listed their coin on day one, while other top projects are still not listed after years of waiting. So this makes me wonder, will VCs also come back and support Terra 2.0? Because if so, this could give them new life. Now, this does require VCs to forgive and forget. But hey, we've already seen them forgive controversial founders like Adam Newman from WeWork and Elizabeth Holmes from Theranos before. So maybe they'll do the same for Do Kwon and fund his new project. Either way, I rate this outside support as positive because they're starting out with way more recognition and support than what you'd expect for a new chain. But what shocked me the most was hearing that they're working on a new algo stablecoin to pair with Luna 2.0. I mean, what the hell? Didn't we already learn that these don't work and people should just stop trying? After all, Do Kwon already failed spectacularly with his Basis Cash stablecoin and then UST, so chances are his third attempt will fail too. To be fair, this is just a rumor, but Do Kwon did write that he wants to revisit the idea of decentralized money after the dust has settled. Now, if they do make a new stablecoin, it better be super conservative and utilize a proven model. I don't want to see another experimental model like the one before. But for this stablecoin rumor, I actually consider it positive. I am hesitant towards it, but if done right, it could help their project take off again. Now, so far we've only discussed Luna 2.0, but Luna Classic is still alive though, so what's gonna happen to that? Well, honestly, it looks unsalvageable to me. While everyone was in wait and see mode after the collapse, there were some vultures who exploited both Mirror Protocol and Anchor Protocol to drain some remaining funds. No one seemed to be paying attention, and the team doesn't seem to care enough to fix it either. This is why I don't think any builders will stay on the Terra Classic chain long term. There's just no point. UST is still unpegged, and most exchanges already delisted Luna Classic after it crashed to zero. And those proposals that I mentioned earlier that are trying to salvage the Classic chain, those are fundamentally flawed. So that's why I think Luna Classic will stay at zero, besides perhaps some occasional random pump and dumps. That's why I rate this a negative for Luna 2.0, because it would be better off if this older chain just died off. Now, as for UST, what's gonna happen to that? Well, there's a proposal to burn all the UST still held by the old community pool. That would help reduce the pressure on its peg a little bit, so perhaps it can get closer to $1. But honestly, the community pool only holds around 10% of the circulating supply, so I'm not sure how much it can actually help. I see two futures for UST. First is that it remains depegged forever and just gets forgotten. Second is that they do regain the $1 peg, but with extremely low volume. Just look at the failed Iron Finance stablecoin. It's actually back at $1 now, but it only does like $25 in terms of daily trading volume. Now, in terms of UST's effect on Luna 2.0, I don't think it really affects it at all, which is why I'm rating this as a neutral. Alright, it's time for the final tally. You got 3 positive, 1 neutral, and 5 negative. That's overwhelmingly negative towards Luna 2.0. Yep, I'm avoiding this project at all costs, and I don't think anyone can become a millionaire by buying it. If you do decide to buy it, just know that it's a risky gamble. On the other hand, a more legit project you might be considering is Solana. And for that, just watch this video where I analyze its future. See ya!